गुड मॉर्निंग फ्रेंड्स। आप सबों का बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन है। इस वीडियो में हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे महत्वपूर्ण इन्वायरमेंट एंड साइंस के प्रश्नों को, जो आपके आने वाले परीक्षा के लिए बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण साबित हो सकते हैं। प्रश्नों की एक बेहतरीन सीरीज प्रस्तुत की जाएगी। कोशिश कीजिएगा आप इसको ध्यानपूर्वक सुनने का और साथ ही साथ अटेम्प्ट करने का, और कोशिश कीजिएगा अंतिम तक सुनने का। तो बने रहिए इस चैनल में। ऑल द बेस्ट। आपके स्क्रीन पर पहला सवाल इकोलॉजी के संदर्भ में पूछा जा रहा है कि ये गाया हाइपोथेसिस होता क्या है। गाया हाइपोथेसिस, थिंक अबाउट इट। इट इट्स a state that in the most species variability in reproductive success is greater in males than in females. Is it Gaia hypothesis? It states that growth is dictated not by total resources available but by the scarcest resources. Third one, it states that Earth function as an interactive system in which living organisms have an influence on their physical characteristics and vice versa. यही है गाया हाइपोथेसिस। लेट्स सी समथिंग अबाउट इट। गाया हाइपोथेसिस इज एन इकोलॉजिकल हाइपोथेसिस, मतलब एक कल्पना है एक तरह से, proposing that the biosphere and the physical component of Earth, like atmosphere, cryosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, are closely integrated to form a complex interacting system that maintain the climatic and biogeochemical condition on Earth in a preferred homeostatist. It was proposed by the James Lovelock as the Earth feedback hypothesis. It was named after the Greek supreme goddess of Earth. The hypothesis is frequently described as viewing the Earth as a single organism. अर्थ को एक सिंगल ऑर्गेनिज्म की तरह इसमें ट्रीट किया गया है। सेकंड क्वेश्चन, कंसिडर द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट। The level of biological magnification is different at a different trophic levels of the ecosystem. Communalism is a negative interaction in a food web which is beneficial to one species and harmful to the other species involved. Is it communalism? Think about it. तो इसका सही जवाब केवल और केवल एक है। लेट्स सी समथिंग अबाउट डिटेल। देखिए, बायोलॉजिकल मैग्निफिकेशन इज डिफाइंड एज द phenomenon of accumulation or increase in the concentration of some toxic substance at each trophic level. The level of biomagnification will be different at a different trophic levels. For example, in a pond of water, DDT was sprayed and the producer were found to have 0.4% ppbm concentration of DDT. Since many types of planktons are eaten by some of the fishes and clams their body accumulates 0.23 ppm of DDT. Seagull that feeds on the clams accumulate more DDT as one seagull eats many clams. Hawk, the top carnivore, has the highest concentration of DDT. Communalism is a positive interaction in a food web where one species benefits while other species, host, is neither harmed nor inhibited. Example of communalism is the relationship between trees and epiphytic plants. थर्ड क्वेश्चन आपकी स्क्रीन पर है। the relationship between the coral and zooxanthellae. So that what type of interaction? This is a simple question that I already asked in UPSC. It's a mutualism. Mutualism is a interaction which is favorable to both the species. Like sea anemone gets attached to the shell of the hermit crabs for the benefit of transport and obtaining new food, while anemone provides camouflage and protection, utilizing its stinking shell to the hermit crab. Some mutualism are so intimate that the interacting species can no longer live without each other, as they depend totally on each other to survive. Such close association are called symbiosis, like coral and zooxanthellae. Next one, with the reference to the ecosystem, consider the following statement regarding dieback. Dieback. It refers to progressive dying, usually backwards from tip of any portion, a portion of plant. This is an this is an adaptive mechanism of plants. Dieback. Okay, I think it's a C. Both the answers are correct. Dieback refers to the progressive dying, usually backwards from the tip of any portion of the plant. This is one of the adaptive this is one of the adaptive mechanism to avoid adverse conditions like drought. In this mechanism, the root remains alive for the years together, but shoots die. Example sal, red cinders, silk cotton tree, etc. Consider the following statements. Species: hummingbirds, tiger shark, bees, sea otters. Which of the above are keystone species? Hmm. It's the bees and it's a tiger shark. Hmm. Tough question. I think it's a D. At first, you have to understand about the key species. Keystone species are those who have an extremely high impact on a particular ecosystem relative to its population. The removal of keystone species from a habitat results in a dramatic change in the habitat. It affects other species to the extent that they might even get extinct. These species affect the structure and the function of an ecosystem and the plants and animal species residing in that ecosystem. Example of keystone species: hummingbird. Hummingbirds are responsible for pollination. New plant species take over at places with a low number of hummingbirds. Tiger shark. Tiger shark keep a check on population of the turtles and dugong, which would destroy the seagrass. The fish lay eggs on the seagrass, and their destruction would reduce the number of fish. Bees. Bees pollinate plants and help in their reproduction process. The plants provide shelter to these insects, which are then eaten by birds. Sea otters are responsible to keep a check on populations of sea urchins and thereby prevent the destruction of the kelp forest caused by the sea urchins. Next one, a satellite is said to be in a sun synchronous orbit when the orbit lies in the plane of Earth's equator. They travel from west to east, like in Earth. A satellite will always visit the same spot, the same local time. सन सिंक्रोनस ऑर्बिट के बारे में पूछा जा रहा है। जो सैटेलाइट है अगर उसको सन सिंक्रोनस में रख दिया तो क्या होगा? चलिए, आई थिंक यू नो द आंसर। आंसर इज विल बी थ्री ओनली। Satellite in polar orbits usually travel fast, usually travel past Earth from north to south rather than east to west or west to east, passing roughly over the Earth's pole. Polar orbits are a type of low Earth orbit. Sun synchronous orbit SSO is a particular kind of polar orbit. Satellite in Sun synchronous orbit traveling over a polar region are synchronous with Sun. This means they are synchronized to always be in a same fixed position. They are synchronized to always be in a fixed or same position relative to Sun. This means that the satellite always visit the same spot at the same local time. For example, passing a city of Paris every day at noon exactly. This means that satellite will always observe a point on the Earth as if constantly at the same time of the day, which serves a number of applications. Like example, it means that the scientists and those who use satellite images can compare how somewhere changes over time. Therefore, scientists use images series like this to investigate how weather patterns emerge, to help predict weather or storm when monitoring emergencies like forest fire, flooding, or to accumulate data on long-term problems like deforestation or rising sea levels. Often satellite in sun synchronous orbit are synchronized so that they are in constant dawn or dusk. This is because why constantly riding a sunset or sunrise, they will never have the sun at an angle where the earth shadows them. A satellite in a sun synchronous orbit would usually be at an altitude of 600 to 800 kilometer. 800 kilometer At 800 kilometer, it will be traveling at a speed of approximately 7.5 kilometer per second. Which of the following pair is correctly matched? New Horizon to search the fundamental of life within the Milky Way, Orisis Rex asteroid study the sample return sphere X to study the Pluto and the Kuiper belt. Two is absolutely correct. Let's see. The objective of the Horizon mission is to help us understand worlds at the edge of our solar system by making the first reconnaissance of the dwarf planet Pluto and by venturing deeper into the distance. Mysterious Kuiper belt, a relic of the solar system formation. The objective of the Orisis Rex original spectral interpretation, resources identification, security, regolith explorer is to collect and bring samples of asteroid Bennu back to Earth by 2023. The objective of Sphere X spectrophotometer for the history of the universe, epoch of reionization and ice explorer. Sphere X is to survey the sky in near infrared light to study the birth of the universe gather data on more than 300 million galaxies as well as more than 100 million stars in Milky Way galaxy. Consider the following statements regarding Artemis program. Artemis program. It is a joint mission of NASA and JAXA. It is manned mission. The objective is to measure what happens when sun's radiation hits the moon where there is no magnetic field to protect it. Artemis. It's a NASA's mission. Only 2 and 3. It's a Artemis stand acceleration, reconnection, turbulence, electrodynamics of the moon's interaction with sun. It is a program of NASA. Through Artemis, NASA wants to send the first woman and the next man to the moon by year 2024. The mission is named after the Greek mythological goddess of the moon and twin sister of Apollo, namesake the program that sent 12 American astronauts to the moon between 1969 to 1972. The objective of the Artemis mission is to measure what happens when sun's radiation hits the moon where there is no magnetic field to protect it. Consider the following statement regarding the future space exploration. NISAR to track subtle changes in the Earth's surface. Surya Kiran, yes, Sukriyan to study the dynamics of the planet Venus. Lupax to explain the south pole region of Mars. Which are the correct? So Nisar, say A, only 1 and 2. NASA ISRO SAR, NISAR, is planned to be launched the end of 2022. The mission will measure Earth's changing ecosystem, dynamic surface, ice masses, providing information about biomass, natural hazards, and sea level rise and groundwater will support a host of other obligations. NISAR will observe the Earth's land and ice covered surface globally, will 12-day regularity and ascending and descending passes, sampling Earth on average 6 days for a baseline of 3 year mission. ISRO plans to launch Sukriyan orbiter in 2024. The Sukriyan orbiter will be the first mission to the Venus of ISRO and will study atmospheric chemistry, compositional variation, and dynamics of the planet for 4 years. ISRO and JAXA are collaborating on lunar exploration loopbacks mission that is likely to be launched in some time 2024. The mission aims at in situ observation of areas where water is believed to exist and obtain ground data on the quantity of water beside understanding the distribution conditions form and other parameters of lunar water resources in the polar region. The mission is also meant to obtain data on the quantity and forms of the water resources present on the moon. Consider the following statement. A day lasts longer than a year on Venus. Venus and Neptune are two planets in the solar system that rotates from east to west, which are the correct. Okay, I think you know about that. Only A is the right. Recently, scientists have obtained a new data about Venus by bouncing radio waves of Venus. The researchers transmitted radio waves to watch the Venus 20 times from 2006 to 22. NASA Goldstone antenna is a Majob desert of California. Study that. Deeper understanding of an enigmatic world system called Earth's evil twin. The study that a single Venusian rotation takes 243 days. This means that lasts longer than a year on Venus. One day, a day lasts longer than a year of Venus, which makes a complete orbit around the Sun in 225 Earth days. Venus is spinning from east to west. Venus is spinning from east to west in the opposite direction from all other planets in our solar system but Uranus. In the other quark, its day night cycle. The time between sunrise as opposed to the length of a single spin takes 117 Earth days because Venus rotates in the direction opposite of its orbital path around the Sun. Venus is one of the just two planets that rotate from east to west. Only Venus and Uranus have its backward rotation. Which of the following add sulfur to the atmosphere? Volcanic eruption, gases released by the decomposition, excretion of urea by animals. हाँ बताइए कौन सा सही है एक और दो sulfur enters the atmosphere from several sources like volcanic eruption, combustion of fossil fuels, coal, diesel from the surface of the ocean, and gases released by decomposition. Animal waste like urea, uric acid, and that of vegetation add nitrogen in the form of nitrates directly into the soil. Consider the following statement: oxygen from the atmosphere is used for combustion and respiration. Formation of oxide of nitrogen adds oxygen to the atmosphere. ऐसा think का एक ही सही है. Oxygen is a very abundant element on our Earth. It's found in the element in the atmosphere extent 21%. It also occurs extensively in the combined form in the Earth's crust as well as also in the air in the form of carbon dioxide. Oxygen from the atmosphere is used in the three processes, namely combustion, respiration, and in the formation of oxide of nitrogen. Oxygen is returned to the atmosphere only by one major process, that is photosynthesis, and this forms the broad outline of the oxygen cycle in nature. Consider the following statement: the main storage of phosphorus is in earth crust. Unlike carbon, there is no respiratory release of phosphorus into the atmosphere. Phosphorus is the main cause of eutrophication. Okay, so D. Phosphorus plays a central role in aquatic ecosystem and water quality. Unlike carbon and nitrogen, which come primarily from atmosphere, phosphorus occurs in large amount as a mineral in phosphate rocks and enter the cycle from erosion and mining activities. This is the nutrient considered to be the main cause of excessive growth of rooted and free floating microscopic plants like a phytoplankton in lakes leads to eutrophication. The main storage of phosphorus, main storage for phosphorus is in earth crust. On land, phosphorus is usually found in the form of phosphate. By the process of weathering and erosion, phosphates enters rivers, streams, finally ocean. In the ocean, phosphorus accumulate on continental shelves in the form of insoluble deposit. Differences between the carbon and phosphorus cycle. There is no respiratory release of phosphorus into the atmosphere like carbon. Atmospheric inputs of phosphorus through rainfall are much smaller than the carbon inputs. Atmospheric inputs of phosphorus through rainfall are much lower than the carbon inputs. Gaseous exchanges of phosphorus between organism and environment are negligible. Which of the following are the characteristics features of evergreen rainforest biome? This biome extends up to 25-degree latitude on the both sides of the equator. The annual temperature range is 2 degrees Celsius. Rainfall occurs in the morning and night almost on a daily basis. On square kilometer area may contain as many as thousand of the different types of plant species. करेक्ट पूछा है तो डेफिनेटली यू नो अबाउट दैट. तीन तो गलत है भाई. सी आंसर दो और चार. दिस बिकम अप टू 100 latitude नहीं इट्स 10 डिग्री latitude on the both sides up to up to 10 degree latitude both sides of the equator. It covers the area of Amazon lowland of South America, Congo basin of Equatorial Africa, southeastern Asian lands extending from Sumatra to New Guinea. This area experiences high temperature throughout the year with a range of as little 20 degrees Celsius. However, the daily range temperature is much higher than the annual range of temperature. The area gets a heavy rainfall ranging between 150 centimeters to 250 centimeters. It's also distributed throughout the year. Rainfall occurs in the afternoon almost on the daily basis. The combination of the heat and the moisture make the biome as perfect environment for a great variety of plants and animal species. The variety of plants species can be understood from the fact that the 1 square kilometer may contain as much as any as about 1,000 of the different types of plant species. Most of the trees have buttressed trunks, shallow roots, and large dark evergreen leaves. Consider the following temperate regarding temperate grassland. They lie at the margin of the continents in the northern hemisphere, in the interior of the continent in the southern hemisphere. Temperate grassland. These grasslands are known as pampas in Murray Darling Basin. No, grassland in the southern hemisphere are located in the rain shadow areas of the high coastal mountains. These grasslands are known as the granaries of the world. दो स्टेटमेंट काट दीजिए यार क्या. तीन और चार सही है. Temperate grasslands are located in two typical locations: interior of the continent in the northern hemisphere and margin of the continent in the southern hemisphere. Temperate grasslands of the northern hemisphere are characterized by a continental climate wherein extreme summer and winter temperature are well marked. Though the grasslands in the southern hemisphere are located along the coast, they are located in rain shadows areas of the high coastal mountains. These locations account for scanty rainfall in this whole region. These grasslands are found in continents under the different names. In the northern hemisphere, the grasslands are more extensive. The Eurasia, they are called steppes, and a stretch is was from the source of the Black Sea to the plains of Manchuria in China. In the northern America, the grasslands are quite extensively and they are called prairies. They lie between the foothills of the Rockies and the Great Lakes. In the southern hemisphere, these grasslands are less extensive. These are known as pampas in Argentina and Uruguay. South Africa, these grasslands are sandwiched between the Drakensberg Mountains and Kalahari deserts and are known as belt. In Australia, these grasslands are known as downs and found in Murray, Darling Basin of South Australia. Majority of the grasslands have been converted into agricultural lands, which have now become famous greenery of the world. What do you reference the terrestrial ecosystem? What are phytozoals? It's the nutrient deficient soils of the boreal forest. Phytozoals are the typical soil of coniferous boreal biome. The top layer of the soil is very thin and is overlain over sandy and loamy surface, which has no organic matter lost due to the leaching of the nutrients to the bottom layers. The soils are characterized by low levels of moisture, excessively dried, low levels of moisture, and nutrients are loamy and sandy. Others have shallow rooting zones and poor drainage due to the subsoil cementation. A low pH further compounds issue. The low pH acidic is due to excessive leaching of alkaline matter which is present would neutralize the organic acids of accumulating litter. Hence, the most pedozoles are poor soils for agriculture. They are mostly used for grazing. Consider the following: dry and warm summer, prevalence of many local winds, or orchard farming and viticulture is widely practiced. It's a Mediterranean biome. Mediterranean climate is a characteristics by very distinct climate features with a dry, warm summer and wet, cold winters and local winds during the summer months. The sun is overhead of the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. The belt of the influence of the westerlies is shifted polewards, and rain-bearing trade winds are likely to be offshore. Hence, the regions are practically rainless in the summers, and hence rains remains dry. The Mediterranean climate region in Europe experiences many local winds due to the topography of the region, with the Alps in the north, Sahara Desert in the south, and continental interior in the east, and often Atlantic in the west. This create great differences in temperature, pressure, and precipitation. The two most important local winds is the Sirocco and Mistral. The region is important for fruit cultivation, coral, cereal growing, wine making, agriculture industry, as well as engineering and mining. The region is next net exporter of citrus fruits and net importer of dairy products. These regions are known as the world's orchard lands. Viticulture is a specialty and traditions of Mediterranean region. The long sunny summer allow the grapes to ripen. Regions bordering the Mediterranean Sea account for three-quarters of the world's production of wine. P-81 sometimes seen in news. What is the means? It's a long-range patrol aircraft.